Hello and welcome to Newsmakers, where we go beyond the headlines to the stories that matter to you in Hamilton, Halton, and Niagara. I'm your host, Louie Butko, and today I am very pleased to be joined by Director of Community Partnerships with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Courtney Stephen. After an 8-year career in the CFL, including 6 with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Courtney retired from pro football in 2021 and immediately joined the front office of the Ticats in August of that year. In his current role, he oversees the team's community outreach efforts, including flag football and a lot of other stuff. He's also a podcast show host himself on the Ticats Audio Network. Courtney, it's great to see you, my friend. We go way back. We do go way back, I should say.
We actually do, man. I
used to be that annoying reporter asking you questions after games.
I always had a great relationship with the media, man. You're the best. One of the all-time favorites.
You're also, well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. You're also a big podcast guy, so I'm going to put you on the spot. What are your thoughts on our setup here?
No, this setup is great. I love these little adjustable arms. Tell me how my mic technique
You can
is,
sit
man.
back. I'm pretty sure our director Mike Corsten is thinking please do not touch the microphones.
Don't touch the equipment.
Yeah, he just yelled at me for touching it, so I'm gonna make sure I fix it as best as I can.
It's great, man.
He's yelling at me.
This is where all the creative stuff happens.
Absolutely. All right. I wanted to get you on because there's lots to get to. Obviously, the Grey Cup, just 1 month away.
It's actually about 28 days.
28 days away? Yeah, that's right.
No, today is 30 days.
Okay, yeah, because for you and the Hamilton Tiger Cats, it's not just about that game. Obviously, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, you want your team to be playing there. Playoffs still have to happen, but no matter who's in it, this is a huge production for your team at the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, this is Canada's largest sporting event, and so we take great pride in having the opportunity to put that show on for the hometown and also for everybody from coast to coast. Some people even come from outside of Canada to come watch this game and take part in the festivities. So from that Monday when the Cup arrives in Hamilton all the way through Sunday when they kick the ball off, there'll be a whole slate of events happening that we're going to be putting on to showcase the best of what Hamilton has to offer. Yeah,
we had Jerry Fonzo on just a few weeks ago talking about a lot of the events, so I'm not going to put you on the spot for those ones. But as community partnerships, there's a couple things I do want to highlight that you obviously had a big role in. And the one thing that I really enjoyed was the PA Day for kids. Tell us a little bit about the work that went into this. How can you schedule a PA Day? You got the Catholics board and the public board to agree to give a PA Day on the Friday of Grey Cup. How did this come about?
Kids, you could thank me later. No, honestly, we got great partners at both of the school boards, and really they understand that this is for what these kids' situation is. They're going to grow up and be older. Next time that the Grey Cup comes to town here, we don't know where any of us are going to be. So that makes this a once-in-a-lifetime type opportunity. So giving them the opportunity to experience it in its totality and go down to Fan Central and things of that nature, that's very cool. That's where core memories will be built. That's where the excitement begins, so that when you get to game day, there's already a lot of storylines that you're following and memories have already been carved out.
Well, and there's a historical component that you've introduced. And I remember this in 2021 talking to you about this, that you went into classrooms and explained the history of not just the Grey Cup, but of the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the significant people who have come through the Hamilton Tiger Cats organization. Bernie Custis, for example, you developed and you've been working with teachers to develop this lesson plan, basically, to get kids excited, but also a bit of a history lesson to figure out what this is all about.
Well, when you've done something for your whole life, they say that you have the curse of knowledge, because you don't even remember what the basics are. They're so familiar to you. So revisiting the fundamentals of what makes the CFL so great, what makes a Hamilton Tiger Cat a Tiger Cat. That's a weird name. We should take some time to break that down and explain where that came from. Just giving these kids something to grab onto, something tangible that they can go home and tell their parents about, hey, did you know why they call it a Tiger Cat? Or why is the Grey Cup so tall? You know they've had over 100 games played for this trophy, and just different things of that nature. It gives them a sense of pride. It gives them a sense of community, belonging to something that's bigger than themselves. It also makes it interesting because it's hard to cheer for just faceless, nameless people running around on a big field. When you actually identify with some of those folks, you know where their hometowns are, and they find out you have some things in common. It makes it way more exciting to watch.
You've been in your role now for 2 years, 2 years in August. I remember talking to you. You know, I was with the Ticats at the time. I did your first interview as a front office employee. But what's that transition been like for you? What was it like, to know that your time with the game is done? Especially, like, I'm looking at you, Court. You can still go out there and play, buddy. That based on just looking at you, like, what was that transition like? And was it made easier, the fact that you really did dive right into a role that maybe you didn't know how much work was going to be involved in it, but a world that you really got to make your own?
It was something you couldn't plan for, and give all credit to the organization for providing me with the opportunity to just prove my worth, because not everybody transitions out of the game as, smoothly as I did. I was able to. I had the opportunity to. Most people don't get to decide when they're done playing. And that right there alone, it sets you on a certain path where you're doing some self-discovery. But, football has been a part of my life for so long that having opportunity to be close to the game is just energizing. And then doing things that are meaningful to you and being around the game. So going into the community and setting up a football camp, going to a school, doing an assembly. You remember when you were younger and someone came to your school. So those things, they're not just convenient, they're also meaningful, and that makes the transition a lot easier for sure.
Last year, your partner on Ticats Game Day, Mike Daly, came out of retirement to dress to practice. Any plans to do the same? After seeing Mike do it last year?
I did about 50 push-ups last night, and that's the extent of the training I've been doing. So I don't know. I don't think so.
Even to get to do that with Mike, we played the little clip there at the beginning. To be reunited with your teammates and to get to do things differently. You're still, like I said, you're a big podcast guy. You host podcasts. You listen to podcasts. What's that transition been like? It's not part of your regular duties.
No.
It's more work that you're signing up
for.
But
it's something I get to do, right? Not something I have to do. Well, I'm committed now. I'm accountable now.
Yeah, you can't quit. I tried to quit the Ticats Audio Network. Couldn't do it.
No, once you leave, they keep pulling you back, man. Yeah. But the best thing about it, I've been podcasting since probably 2017, and that's just like a hobby of mine. I went to school. I did journalism. So being in a studio, TV, broadcast, radio, whatever, that's like my comfort zone. That's my fun space. If I had 9 lives, I definitely would have taken that route to,
buddy, you're still young. You're here. You might have to use you again. Grey Cup's coming up. We're going to need a Grey Cup reporter maybe. We'll keep you. Not that you're going to be busy or anything during the Grey Cup.
Me and Daly got time. Call us up. Dynamic duo.
One of the main reasons I wanted to bring you on, pretty exciting news in international sport that want to localize right here. This week, the LA Olympics announced that they are introducing 5 new sports. Lacrosse, awesome to hear. Squash, I'm a big squash guy. Love it. Love squash. Baseball, softball, cricket. But the one caught my attention, I'm sure it did you too, flag football. When you saw that, you've worked a lot with flag football. We're going to get into that in a second with your work. But just your initial reaction to seeing football, flag football, but football as an Olympic sport. What was your reaction to somebody who played?
The Olympics is the biggest platform for athletics in general, period, bar none, right? And so we knew that this was in the works. They had been doing the preliminary stuff to get different countries involved. You have to have so many countries that are playing the game in order for it to qualify. So this wasn't completely out of the blue, but it was so exciting because football in all of its forms is one of the greatest team sports that you can play. There's a spot on the field for everybody. It's flag football compared to tackle football. It costs less to play. Boys and girls could play together. Just go down the list and you can find so many benefits of getting introduced to the game through that way. And it's going to be exciting. And for me, now I'm thinking about scenarios of, well, if we had to put together a flag football team, who are we even going to put on it? And now kids who are maybe 14, 15, this is going to be 5 years from now, right? They might be the ones who are actually on our national team. So that's a completely different paradigm. When you're going out there and playing flag football in your gym class, you legitimately might be one of our future Olympians, because that's a sport that you can actually participate in now.
I mean, even like a kid like you growing up in Canada, like football, it's not as big in the States. We know that, right? Like football's not as big.
Football is not as big here as it is in the States.
Exactly. So as a kid growing up, to make it to the CFL, to have that aspiration to get to play in your own backyard, how do you think that this addition of flag football can help motivate, like you said, that 14-year-old, that 8-year-old who's thinking like, I've never picked up a football, but now it's an Olympic sport. I can win gold. I'm going to start picking it up.
Man, even win gold, yes, that's the goal all the time. But even where the sports can take you, when you have an international game, that's one of the things about football that I always envied from other sports. When you look at proper football, soccer, you can play the same game in England, Germany, Brazil, Nigeria. You roll out that soccer ball and everybody knows how to play the game. Flag football does that for our brand of football, because even from Canada to the U.S. is two different brands of football. So this makes it truly have the potential to be a global game. And I know that that's what the ultimate goal is here, is to introduce people to something that we've fallen in love with over here for over 100 years. And I think the world will take it on and they'll love it and they'll embrace it. And we'll see football grow very fast after these Olympics.
In your role as Director of Community Partnerships, what have you seen when it comes to your first on the field events, when it comes to going to schools? Like, what's that like, seeing somebody throw a perfect spiral, right? And because like that doesn't happen. That takes time. Or making that catch. Like, what's that sense of rewardance that, damn, that's pretty cool.
Man, it's just everything that we do is when the light bulb comes on, that's the moment when you realize this is bigger than football. This is about helping kids find an outlet for their energy. This is about helping kids find their confidence, find their voice, build friendships, have memories. Because at the end of the day, the game ends for everybody. But when we got up here and we were talking about my time playing, we were talking about career opportunities, we're talking about friendships, we're talking about the things I do in my spare time, my passions, and they're all intrinsically linked to the game itself. And so getting people into the sport is the big thing. And when we see them having fun or they have a big play, that's when we know they're hooked. And so getting people into sports is like the best thing you could do for any community.
Now, you've made it a priority to make flag football a priority. You've partnered with Niagara Flag Football. You've partnered with Hamilton organizations. You obviously see the market there for a sport that's convenient, that's relatively cheap with the lack of equipment. How do you see it growing now? Like, where is the growth potential? Like, we see the problems with hockey is it's too expensive, ice time's too hard to get. Where do you see flag football growing in the next few years with this announcement?
Man, it fits so nicely into the environment that we're currently living in. Like you mentioned, when you have to get these big facilities rented out, there's only a limited number of those. That changes a lot of things. By contrast, you can play flag football anywhere where there's grass, right? And to make an example, we're building a field inside of the John Foote Armory for Grey Cup Festival. And that field is not a regulation-sized field, right? You don't need the full football field to play a game of flag football. Only need about 30, 40 yards or so. So access is way, way easier for flag football. And I think that alone is going to help get it into schools, get kids in the parks playing it. And once they actually get introduced to the game, that's the goal. Just get them out there, get them playing, get them having fun, because all of the good things, the benefits come from them being introduced to the game. So it's going to grow for sure.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Let's say Jim Mullen from Football Canada calls you up and says, Court, you've been around the game, played collegiately, you played Little League. How am I going to build a flag football team in 5 years? What's your plan? How would you assemble Canada's flag football team?
Well, first thing I would do is I would go to U Sports and I would say, you need to implement a system where you can have not only tackle football, but we need to sanction flag football at the collegiate level. If we're going to compete on this on the international stage, we can't just be showing up as a part-time gig. You want people to get reps in. You want people to focus on this and get great at it. because flag football has been a hobby. If we're honest with ourselves, it's been something cool that you do when you're not doing the real thing. But now, when we're talking about medals, you win an Olympic medal, you get paid for that, man. So let's take this thing seriously. Let's have people playing at a high level. Let's have them competing. Let's have the coaches developed. Let's have the players developed. And then let's go into the Olympics with a fighting chance, because I argue, Canada has some of the best athletes in the world. We just need the systems around those athletes to give them the chance to reach their potential.
Is 5 years enough time?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because
I know Stavros Katsantonis is already a boy, I'm sure, close to your heart, a free safety for something like that. A good Canadian national, we should call him.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, he's a fake Canadian, but we love him because he loves us. Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I mean, he's making his case. Like, do you get the sense that, even guys in the CFL will be motivated to compete for Canada?
Well, would you be motivated to play in front of millions of people and represent a country on the international stage? I mean, we could be river dancing, man. You put me out there, I'm going to be excited about it regardless. So when you put the football involved, absolutely. It's going to be great. And lots of question marks still. Yeah. Lots of stuff to sort out and figure out. But these are great problems to have, is where are we going to find the best flag football players in the country? I don't know, but I'm going to find out.
Yeah, it's really going to be exciting. And like you said, I think it's for a kid to be able to turn on the Olympics in 5 years and see it as a legitimate sport and not just a hobby, not just something you do. And I credit you for going out into the schools, you and your team, introducing football. First on the field is obviously a huge part of that. But should be interesting. Tyreek Hill says he wants to play for Team USA.
Oh my goodness.
NFL executives are saying that they're going to try and find a way to get players involved.
Now look, they got the Pro Bowl. They were playing flag football because they already knew they have influence on these things. So it's like, hey, let's go, Canada. Let's figure out what we're gonna do. Can we get our guys together?
Yeah,
we got a lot of great athletes over here. I'd be the coach.
Yeah, you're calling it right now.
I'd be with, or GM.
Yeah,
maybe.
GM. Okay.
Flag football
right.
GM.
Well, in 4 years, when you're getting set for the Olympics, I'm going to have you back on this show, and we'll talk about. We'll play the tape from this one. You got a big pep rally coming up. You're heading off to Binbrook this afternoon as part of you're going into schools, getting them all excited. The Grey Cup itself, though, like, where are you at? Here we are again, like 25 days out from the start of the festival, 26th. Where somebody's going to correct us from the front office.
I try not to think about it too much.
But we're less than a month. We are a month away from the actual game. Like, what is the sense of, like, does it feel like like you're preparing for a huge game that's a month away? Like, it's a little different, is it not?
There's almost never enough time. So there's this sense of urgency where the clock's ticking, but you want that pressure. You want to be on the court or on the field in the fourth quarter. You want to be in the game because that's where the plays are made. And so not being able to put on a helmet anymore, these are the moments I live for, man. You want the team to rely on you to make a play. And so putting together 40 events in less days than there are events, and having folks coming
almost,
in from different cities and coordinating from multiple teams and organizations, that stuff's really cool. And when it comes together, you kind of sit back and exhale and say, man, like, look at what we did together as a group, as a unit. And so it'll be fun, but right now, a little bit of sweat.
What are you most looking forward to come that week?
Oh man, I just seeing how people react to all the work that we've put in collectively. I want people to not be told what they should like or appreciate, but I want them to discover what are the cool aspects of the festival and of our town that they really enjoy, or maybe get exposed to things that they didn't know. Like, we have amazing food here. We got great entertainers here. There's amazing hospitality here. So I look forward to seeing people discover Hamilton. Is going to be an amazing time.
I mean, to that point, you chose to put your roots here in the city. You chose to live here. You signed here and you re-signed here as a free agent. You wanted to come back, and then you made your roots, like, with the Ticats front office. What have you noticed about Hamilton since even the time you first got here? What is it about this city that's kept you here?
The people care so much. It's evident right away from the first game when they cut the lights on and they kicked the ball off to the very last time I played, and I was wearing a jersey from an opposing team.
I remember.
And people are still standing outside the stadium looking for pictures and autographs and asking me how my family is doing. It's cool, man, because we want the team to win every single game, but I think the fans here truly care about the players. They care about that Leaping Tiger. They care about that stadium precinct, Tim Hortons Field, and the Stipley. Like, this is something that we take pride in, all of us. And so to be a part of that is awesome.
I mean, what would it mean to you? You played in Grey Cups. You know, you were there in 2021. But what would it mean to you to be a part of this organization if the team were to pull it off?
That's the only goal. All other goals are sub goals underneath of that one. Now, so you mean that as in even in that building, you know, you obviously want the event to go off without a hitch, but but I expect everything that we plan to be executed to perfection, because that's a standard we hold ourselves to, and we want to be world class. You know, we're not necessarily comparing ourselves to people next door and how they run events and whatnot. Like, we just want to be the absolute best in that. So I'm not worried about anything, but the goal is, whether you're putting on a helmet or whether you're packing bags or whether you're mopping floors or whether you're locking doors, is do what you got to do to make sure that we're where we need to be when that game comes and when they kick that ball off. We want to be there, and we don't want to just enjoy it. We want to win.
Yeah. I could picture you saying that on the podium like a million times again in the TELUS Media Center. Dig, carry water, all those things.
Chop wood,
carry water, drop the E, and let's go. Obviously, okay, let's talk about the team, though. You've been in situations like this. It seems like this second half, Bo Levi's getting healthier by the game. Tim White, oh my God, what can we say about Tim White? Bonafide superstar, I would say. We mentioned Stavros. What a jump he's made this year, being kind of thrown into that spot. This team, as it's constructed right now, nice bye week, well needed, especially having to go hit the road in Montreal for the first playoff game. What's your overall assessment of what you've seen from the guys as of late?
Trending in the right direction, peaking at the right time. I think you've had some injuries early in the season that forced other guys who otherwise wouldn't be getting the reps to gain experience, and now you're going to see the fruit of that labor. Stavros, for example, he was initially a reserve player. Then, adjustments were made in the back end. Tunde moves to field. Half Stavros goes at free safety. Now all of a sudden he has 5 picks, one of the league leaders in that department. So another thing, you see Matt Schultz, you see Taylor Powell, and Bo Levi Mitchell have all got considered. Well, Bo Levi Mitchell has had the least minutes this season, but they're all now making a considerable contribution to the team at some point in time or another. You have the offensive line who's had to fit different guys in, and now with Jordan Murray over there making that left tackle position look like, he's been there all year long. It's just different things no matter where you look, whether it's Tim White fighting for the yak yards and playing with the determination of somebody who's trying to go deep into the playoffs and make a run. That kind of stuff is contagious, and I think the players all are bought in. If you listen to Coach O talk, he always gives the same message, and sometimes you're like, Coach, do you really believe what you're saying? But then as the tide changes and you see them start to build momentum, you realize that, like, okay, if you do buy into this, then there is some potential there. So it'll be really interesting to see. They got one of the best problems on their hand with more than one capable quarterback, and it's not something that's unfamiliar to Hamilton. So as long as they continue to get healthier, and which is the direction they're trending, I think that things are shaping up for a great run.
Yeah, tough loss last week, obviously, with the way it ended. But the last couple of weeks, so you got to be encouraged by what you've seen. And like I said, I will bang the drum for Tim White. I think he's the team nominee for MOP. I think he can make a strong case. I think there's going to be a lot of people who look at the Argos and what they've done this season, but what Tim White has done. Set career high in yards, tied a career high in touchdowns, still has a game left to play. It's been really fun to watch his development, especially from year 3. And again, back to Stavros. I always found that free safety position really interesting, just because first it was you, and then it was Mike Daly, then it was Tunde, and now it's Stavros. It is like that Canadian, the national fake Canadian Stavros case, but right, that floor director of the field has always been a solid Canadian player that you've gotten to count on, and you were one of them. So I know you appreciate that, even if he is a fake Canadian, as we like to call him.
Hey, man, he loves it here, so we love him here, man. That's all that matters. And yeah, it takes all 12 though, and they'll be the first ones to tell you that they just take turns making their play. And as long as you make your play when the ball comes your way, you don't have to do anything crazy. Just make regular plays every single time.
And you mentioned the buying your time there. All I could think of was the waiting room.
Yep.
It's a waiting room. Next guy up, next man up.
How many sayings and mantras are there?
Oh man, if we could play, I used to say I could play Coach O Bingo and have like a card on what he was going to say that day. The goal is to get one more point than the other team.
That's it.
Doesn't matter how you do it.
Focus on ourselves, not on them.
Yeah, that's why the windshield is so much bigger than the rear view mirror.
Yeah, man.
You gotta look forward, not back.
Love it.
Yeah, but again, you mentioned it, and I hear you talking like just about your front office stuff, and it really is that mentality that's bought in from the top down. And again, I've mentioned on the show, I've been in the building. I've been around. I definitely know what that feeling is like. And I wish you all the best, man. I know you're getting ready for a big Pure Later pep rally. It's going today in Binbrook, St. Matthew Catholic. That's not saying it because by the time this airs, it's already have happened.
It was phenomenal. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, it was phenomenal.
It was the best event yet. But Court, I know you're a very busy guy. I happened to drive by the stadium today. I can see there is a lot going on there. So I appreciate you making the time coming up to the studio with us.
Anytime for you, man.
Anytime. I'm going to hold you to that. My thanks to Courtney Stephen for joining me today, and my thanks to you as well, because we could not do this show without your support. Make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Newsmakers podcast or any of the other great shows we have for you on CHCH Podcast. If you're watching this, you can scan the QR code on your screen, or you can go to chch.com/podcast. And a little plug for my friend here. You can catch Courtney Stephen on the Ticats Audio Network. He hosts Ticats Game Day along with Mike Daly. And hey, I'm going to give myself a little shout out. While you're at the Ticats Audio Network, why don't you go check out Speaking with the Enemy? That's the show that I do. So it's a great team of guys on that, or great team of people on the Ticats Audio Network. I always like to say, we had a lot of fun. But anyway, we're going to go. Thanks for joining us. I'm Louie Butko from all of us here at CHCH. Have a great day.